What's up, everyone? Happy Football Friday. Pretty decent amount of news. Short show because we're not delving into the team's off seasons yet until we get the schedule in a couple weeks. So pretty much just talking UFL today, which I know Jimmy loves. uh, but first off, we got some news, college football news. Transfer portal, Nebraska tight end Eric Gilbert. He hasn't played since 2022 in a game, but has been with Nebraska the last 2 years. He has committed to Savannah State. So going a little bit different of a route, I guess. Former five-star, played at LSU and Georgia and Nebraska, but has had a lot of off-the-field issues. And I guess Savannah State is a place that he can take those too. I don't know. Georgia running back Branson Robinson, he has committed to Georgia State. So nice little trip to a 30-minute trip across the state to Atlanta for Branson there. Oregon State quarterback Ben Branson, he has committed to Stanford, so not too far for him either to go from Corvallis to Palo Alto. North Dakota State running back Shamar Brown, he is committed to Miami. So he was the Jerry Rice Award winner last year in the FCS, the top freshman player of the year. So big get from Miami. And the Canes have been doing pretty well on the portal so far, the spring portal. And they're definitely one of the top classes this season. Wisconsin wide receiver Mark Hamper, he transferred into Wisco from Idaho in the fall, but he has moved on to Cal. Washington wide receiver Jonte Cook, also another one of those one and done guys, one semester done and guys. He is coming to do Syracuse, off the field issues at Texas and Washington. So see if he works in Syracuse, New York. Houston safety AJ Halsey, the top ranked player available on 24/7 Sports. He has visited with LSU. And Oklahoma running back Gavin Sawchuk, he has visited with Florida State. UFL news, we had a trade, second trade involving, I believe, the Arlington Renegades. They have acquired edge rusher Ikenna Enechukwu from the San Antonio Brahmas for linebacker Story Jackson. Jackson only played 10 snaps this year, was kind of buried on the linebacker depth chart there. Enechukwu, pretty solid player, but I don't really know where he fits with Arlington. Arlington's got a pretty stacked edge rush group already, D-line in total, so I'm not really sure where he's going to go. But Jackson, I definitely think could help San Antonio. They have a solid pairing at the top, Tavante Beckett and Jordan Williams. But I think with only having Paul Mawala, who they just signed because of the injury to Nate Weiland, I think Story Jackson could be a guy that could take that third linebacker spot there. And like I said, Enechukwu, I don't know how he gets on the field in Arlington with edge rushers Willie Taylor, Chris Odom, Will Clark, Taco Charlton. That's the top four. I don't know, unless they activate one more D lineman every week. Other UFL news, the Panthers wide receiver Samson Nakua, he is suspended this week. Apparently got into an altercation with a St. Louis Battlehawks fan last week's game and slapped him on I didn't see any evidence of that, but I don't know. The Showboats, they have signed former Panthers running back Wes Hills. Big time get mid-season for Memphis, who, um, they're got their first win last week. Dresser win looked fantastic, and going for win number 2 this week against 2-win Houston. I don't know. I West Hills led the league in rushing in 2020, led the USFL in rushing in 2023, and it's a team that really needs help running the ball. Deneric Prince is their leading rusher on the season, just 3.6 yards per carry, only 181 yards rushing on the season on 50 carries. So they definitely need to upgrade the run game. And Hills, I definitely think he could help. 6'2", 218, Pennsylvania guy, Slippery Rock University, D2. UFL Week 5 Players of the Week. Offense was Memphis quarterback Dresser Win, like I mentioned, balled out last week, beating the Birmingham Stallions in Birmingham, I believe it was, in overtime. And first professional start, first professional win. So pretty solid there. Defense was Renegades corner Ajene Harris. Once again, have an interception. He has 3 on the year. I mentioned him in the recaps. Harris definitely in the mix for UFL Defensive Player of the Year for sure. And special teams, we're going back to Memphis. Showboats wide receiver Isaiah Henney. Ridiculous play, a kick 6, 108-yard field goal return for a touchdown, a short field goal there. Returned it for a touchdown right before halftime. Always wild when those guys do that, but very, very impressive for sure. From a guy that I'm actually surprised that he really hasn't gotten a ton of run on offense for Memphis, because he was a really solid player for the Pittsburgh Maulers back in the USFL in 2023. Has been with Memphis for both of the UFL seasons, but just 2 catches for 11 yards on 4 targets on offense hasn't really been a factor. He's been mostly a returner. Yeah. All right, let's get to the NFL news. There's a bunch of it actually. Falcons have been fined $250,000, and defense coordinator Jeff Ulbrich $100,000 for quote unquote failing to prevent the disclosure of confidential information distributed to the club in advance of the NFL draft. So this stems from Jackson Ulbrich being the culprit that prank called Shedeur Sanders. And apparently he wasn't the only one. Apparently there were multiple other players that got prank called. Drew Rosenhaus said Abdul Carter was one of those. He apparently got a prank call from the Jags that said that the Jags were going to pick him at 2 after they traded up. And he knew that wasn't going to happen. He knew the Giants he knew they were taking Travis. Were going to be the guy, or the Giants were going to be the team. But yeah. But yeah,
so they're going to start finding everyone else that does a prank call. Like, are they going to find whoever prank called Tyler Warren, or that offensive tackle that got prank called, I think, at least 6 times? Or is it just Shedeur Sanders? Like, are we doing this? Are we really doing this? Like, give me a break. Like, is it a stupid prank? Yes. Are we really going to find someone over it? God, this is stupid.
Yeah. I think it's my end, Jimmy, that is having the issues. I believe so, anyways.
All right, I'm going to assume the audience heard. So if you can hear me, I'll just quickly double back and just say, well, are you going to get all the other kids that made prank calls? Are you going to find their dads? Like, are we doing this? Is this a new thing now? Like, I'm sorry, like getting prank called sucks, especially about your career. But I know for a fact if it wasn't Shador Sanders, it's not news. You know why I know that? Because Abdul Carter got prank called. Ty Warren got prank called. I forget the name of that offensive guard that got prank called at least a dozen times when he was picked in the 6th round. Like, just give me a break. Like, prank calls are going to happen. It's stupid, but we're going to really give 6-figure fines for this BS. And justification is, again, the failing to prevent disclosure of confidential information. Okay, so how did all those other prank callers get guys like Abdul Carter or Tyra Warren's number? Like, we can do this. Like, I get it was stupid, probably because he filmed himself doing it, and that's how he got caught. But it's like, give me a damn break. Like, this is a waste of time and waste of money.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think I finally got the Wi-Fi issues figured out here. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely interesting to see. I mean, yeah, how dumb can you be to film film it? Like, delete the evidence. Like, what are you doing? Us lawyers would never make that mistake, for sure. Anyways, sad news. Jets quarterback Jordan Travis is medically retiring. 2024 fifth round selection out of Florida State, was never the same and really never recovered from his horrendous, absolutely horrendous knee injury that he suffered against, I believe it was Alabama State, or not Alabama State, North Alabama, in a game that that our guy Fernando is actually at. I remember texting with him, and he said about that he was there. But yeah, never the same, and it sucks. I really had high hopes. I thought the Jets got a steal in Jordan Travis in the 5th round, and but yeah, unfortunately, never going to be able to play the game he loves again.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, this kid, I mean, before that ankle snapped, I mean, I think he was a 1st-round talent, you know, and fantasy and his quick. I was like, can be a starter next year with Rodgers now. I believe him, so it's pretty tough to see that happen.
Yeah. Cutting out a little bit there, but it's not that bad. All right. 5th-year option, some more. I haven't seen when the deadline for this is. I'm sure it's not yet. Probably mid-May, I would think. So I think we got at least a week or two left on the deadline for this. Browns quarterback Kenny Pickett. Yes, he is still on his rookie contract. He's got traded twice. The Browns did not pick up his 5th-year option. What a shock. $22.117 million it would have been in 2026. Chiefs corner Trent McDuffie and defensive end George Karlaftis both getting theirs picked up. Cornerstones for that Chiefs defense under Steve Spagnuolo. Jags linebacker Devin Lloyd not getting his picked up. They still want to sign him though. Falcons wide receiver Drake London, yes. Ravens safety Kyle Hamilton did get his picked up. However, center Tyler Linderbaum did not. Ravens said they do want to do deals with both of those guys though. Packers linebacker Quay Walker did not get his picked up. Packers saying they want to do a deal with him as well. So you can say all you want, but until we get to 2026 free agency and they ain't signed yet, it's all it is is just talk. Couple of releases. The Commanders, they released kicker Zane Gonzalez. Seahawks, they waived quarterback Jaron Hall. And the Patriots releasing longtime long snapper Joe Cardona. Made sense. Patriots drafted long snapper out of Vanderbilt. Julian Ashby. So made sense that they would go the rookie route on the long snapper there. A lot less money, I guess. Not a lot, probably, but I mean, what does a rookie long snapper make? Rookies don't make a ton in general, but rookie long snapper that's picked 251st overall. What does he make? I want to see this actually. Just for $840,000. That's what his cap number is. Yeah, that's what he makes. 840. They must have upped it a lot. I was kind of shocked that some of these numbers were what they were on the sliding scale, the draft picks. He signed, he gets a 4-year. Everyone gets a 4-year deal in the draft. $4.3 million essentially. 0.3% of the cap there. And he's cheap. 28th out of 34 at the long snapper position. A couple extensions. These ones are not for $840,000. 49ers signed tight end George Kittle to a 4-year, $76.4 million deal. $40 million guaranteed there for Pitt, as his nickname is on my dynasty team. Just a Kittle bit. But yeah, I mean, I was not shocked, but I was interested in the term. 4 years seemed like a lot for a guy that has been rumored to be thinking about retirement the last year. So I don't know. 4 years felt like a long time for me. Well worth it though. I mean, he's still. I think he has surpassed Travis Kelce now with how Kelce's season went last year. I think, however, though, Brock Bowers is hot on Kittle's tail there as the be the best tight end in the league. I don't know. Throw Trey McBride, I guess, in too there. This guys that had good seasons last year. Your Vikings, Jimmy, got a deal done. They signed linebacker Andrew Van Ginkel to a 1-year, $23 million extension, $22.4 million guaranteed there. Very solid signing. What was that, last year in free agency?
It was, yeah. They signed him to a 2-year deal last offseason. They originally wanted to give him a 3-year deal, but I guess they only negotiated a 2-year, so this kind of makes it a 3-year deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The Gink is back. I could not be happier.
Yeah, I love watching his flow just run around.
Oh yeah, his pick 6 against Rodgers in London, fantastic.
Couple other free agent signings here. The Bills signed Browns wide receiver Elijah Moore to a 1-year, $5 million deal. I was kind of surprised. $5 million max value there, but not sure what the base is. But yeah, was kind of surprised at 5 at this stage of the year. The Commanders, I mentioned they released Zane Gonzalez. Well, they signed Colts kicker Matt Gay to a 1-year deal, so swap of kickers there made sense. Gay, the presumptive better choice there in terms of career production. 49ers, couple signings here. They signed Falcons tight end Ross Dwelly to a 1-year deal, re-signing him actually pretty much because was with San Francisco 7 years, Atlanta last year, comes back to San Fran in 2025. And they made a good signing as well, get some O-line depth. They signed Chiefs offensive tackle DJ Humphries. So this made a lot of sense for San Francisco there. They did not draft the offensive tackle, so I that was one of my needs that was left off the board for them. That was actually my 5th need for them. And actually, both of these signings made sense for me because tight end was also one of my needs. So I thought they needed to upgrade at the backup tight end position, and I thought potentially they would draft someone to supplant Kittle eventually because I thought he was on the way out soon. But they don't really need that option anymore. I do still think Dwelly coming back to San Francisco is a good option. He knows the offense, can hit the ground running essentially as the tight end too. All right, you ready for the laundry list of undrafted free agent signings? Because I went on to I didn't look at an updated list, by the way, Jimmy. So I have not updated these since a couple days ago, since Monday, essentially.
Go fast.
But yeah, these are from our lads, I think, or Pro Football Focus. I think Pro Football Focus, actually. So Cardinals, UTSA tight end Oscar Cardenas. Falcons, a lot of guys here. Michigan State running back Nate Carter. San Jose State wide receiver Nick Nash, which I think is fantastic signing. Led the country in receiving yards last year, I believe, and touchdowns, I think. South Carolina tight end Joshua Simon. Oregon State guard Joshua Gray. Miami defensive tackle Simeon Barrow. Iowa State safety Malik Verdon. Ravens, Arizona State wide receiver Xavier Guillory. Nebraska defensive tackle Nash Hutmaker. Memphis linebacker Chandler Martin. Iowa linebacker Jaden Higgins. Or Jay Higgins, I should say. Jaden Higgins is the wide receiver for the Texans out of Iowa State. Illinois State safety Keandre Jackson. The Bills, they signed Mississippi State wide receiver Kelly Akari. Panthers getting UCLA quarterback Ethan Garbers. UCF wide receiver Kobe Hudson. Cincinnati guard Luke Kandra. SMU defense tackle Jared Harrison Hunt. Florida State kicker Ryan Fitzgerald as well. I like that one. Panthers, I believe, were one that I had a need for a kicker in the draft. Yeah, so that made sense for me. Bears, they signed TCU wide receiver JP Richardson. Bengals signing Arizona running back Quali Conley. Duke wide receiver Jordan Moore. Oklahoma State wide receiver Rashad Owens. Ohio State center Seth McLaughlin, which I love that signing. And Michigan long snapper William Wagner. Cowboys, they got Texas Tech wide receiver Josh Kelly. Auburn tight end Rivaldo Fairweather. And Syracuse safety Justin Barron. He's a safety linebacker hybrid there. Broncos, they signed Toledo wide receiver Jawan Newton. Kentucky offensive tackle Marquise Cox. Georgia offensive tackle Xavier Truss. Missouri edge rusher Johnny Walker Jr. and Utah linebacker Karene Reed. Lions signed Indiana tight end fullback Zach Horton. Ohio running back Anthony Tyus III. Boston College running back Kai Robichaux. UMass wide receiver Jacoby Keeney James. Ole Miss tight end Caden Priestcorn. The Packers, they signed South Dakota State running back Amar Johnson, Penn State wide receiver Julian Fleming, Georgia defense tackle Nazir Stackhouse, and Kentucky linebacker Jamon Dumas Johnson. Texans got Minnesota wide receiver Daniel Jackson and Kentucky center Eli Cox and North Carolina corner Elijah Huzzy. Colts signed Ole Miss running back Ulysses Bentley IV. The Jags, a lot of guys here, a lot of quality. Arkansas running back Jaquindon Jackson. Boise State wide receiver Cam Camper. North Carolina tight end John Copenhaver. Penn State guard Sal Wormley. North Dakota State defensive tackle Eli Mostert. Minnesota edge Danny Strigo. Wake Forest linebacker Branson Combs. Oregon corner Jabbar Muhammad. And Colorado safety Cameron Silman Craig. Chiefs signed Stephen F. Austin running back Quaylen Jones. Kansas fullback Jared Casey. Florida wide receiver Elijah Badger. Fresno State wide receiver Mac Delana. And USC punter Eddie Saplicki. Raiders signed Baylor linebacker Matt Jones. Rams, they signed Oklahoma State wide receiver Brennan Presley. Tulane wide receiver Mario Williams. North Carolina guard Willie Lampkin. Texas defensive tackle Bill Norton. Buffalo linebacker Sean Dolick, who I absolutely love. Dolphins, they signed Missouri running back Nate Noel. Arkansas wide receiver Andrew Armstrong. Northwestern wide receiver A.J. Henning. Missouri wide receiver Theo Weiss. Texas Tech tight end Jalen Conyers. Michigan guard Josh Preby. Auburn linebacker Eugene Asante. UCF corner Brandon Adams. Patriots got Louisiana quarterback Ben Woldridge. UC Davis running back Lan Larison. Memphis wide receiver Demir Blankumsey. Eastern Washington wide receiver Efton Chisholm III. Alabama tight end C.J. Dupre. Ohio State tight end G. Scott Jr. Giants, they signed Ole Miss wide receiver Antwain Wells Jr., Notre Dame wide receiver Bo Collins, Virginia Tech wide receiver Daquan Felton, North Carolina wide receiver Nate McCollum, Oklahoma edge Trace Ford, South Carolina corner O'Donnell Fortune, Michigan safety McCurry Page. Jets signed South Alabama wide receiver Jamal Pritchett, Fresno State safety Dean Clark, Ole Miss kicker Caden Davis. Eagles, they got Florida running back Montrell Johnson, Wake Forest wide receiver Taylor Morin, Rutgers offensive tackle Holland Pierce, which I loved that signing. As did I love the Toledo safety Maxon Hook signing as well. The 49ers, they signed Cincinnati running back Corey Kiner, Nebraska wide receiver Isaiah Nair, Mississippi State linebacker Stone Blanton. Seahawks signing Utah edge Connor O'Toole, Ole Miss edge Jared Ivey, UNLV linebacker Jackson Woodard, who I think is a stud, Villanova corner Isis Waxter, and LSU corner Zy Alexander. Bucks, they signed West Virginia wide receiver Garrett Green, just like Raiders wide receiver Tommy Mellott transitioning from quarterback to wide receiver in the pros. Colorado wide receiver Will Shepard, Texas center Jake Majors, and Cal kicker Ryan Coe. Titans, they signed Utah running back Micah Bernard, Boston College defense tackle Cam Horsley, Texas linebacker David Gabenda, Penn State corner Jalen Kimber, and Iowa corner Jermari Harris. And finally, the Commanders, they signed Louisville wide receiver Ja'Cory Brooks, UCF defense tackle Ricky Barber, Florida State corner Fentrell Cypress II, and Oklahoma State safety Trey Rucker. So that is a lot of guys that signed, but yeah, a lot of guys undrafted, but a lot of talent for sure went undrafted in this year's draft. So definitely look out for guys contributing here from the undrafted spots this season. And of course, fantasy-wise, make sure you pay attention to the offensive players. Who's going to make the teams? Who's going to make an impact? And position of need for a couple teams. All right, UFL pick standings. Danny still running away with it. He gained 2 more games on me this week, so he is now 4 games up, and we're on the back half of the season. We only have 23 games left to pick. 4 games a week for the next 5 weeks, and then we got 2 playoff games and the UFL championship game in June. So, it's getting late early for us. Jimmy, I gained a game on him last week, actually. When Danny and I went 3-1 last week, Jimmy and Christian went 2-2. I was 0-1 on my lone wolf last week. Michigan losing a close one in a comeback effort against St. Louis. Danny he got his only lone wolf right. He is 4-0 on lone wolves this year. He got the DC Defenders right over the Arlington Renegades last week, or 2 weeks ago, I should say. I got a game on Jimmy. But yeah, I mean, it's Danny has not gone worse than 3-1 every single week. He's gone 3-1 for the last 2 weeks, or last 3 weeks, I should say. Went 3-1 week 1, 4-0, as did Jimmy and I on week 2. So, let's see what we got this week. See if we can make a run here. Starting off tonight, kickoff 3 minutes ago. So Arlington Renegades at the St. Louis Battlehawks, and this is paramount game here in the XFL conference. Arlington, St. Louis battling it out for that second seed currently, 1 game back of DC. I was kind of shocked that St. Louis was that much of a favorite. I know the Dome, big time home field advantage, 3.5 points though. I don't know. I like Arlington, and I know I'm picking with Christian, who has the worst record anywhere in our standings, but I just really like Arlington, and they were my XFL champion pick this offseason. So I'm gonna go with Arlington and Christian here, and Jimmy and Danny, they are on St. Louis. I'm scared because last time we were split, it was Danny and I, and Danny knows the UFL apparently. So I don't know. I'm gonna go with Arlington. I think Luis Perez, the King of Spring, is gonna get her done here for us. Total here is 42.5, and I actually got Arlington at 5.5. I got them at 5.5 today, so it has jumped up. So definitely get Arlington if you can at a good line right now. 42.5 is the total here. I am going to go with lean on the over. 8 p.m. on Fox. All right, 5 minutes ago it kicked off, by the way. There you go. The next game tomorrow, the Showboats at the Roughnecks. 4.5 here for Houston. This was another one. I was totally shocked of the betting line. Houston 4.5. That is wild. Lone wolfing, and I'm scared again because when Danny lone wolfs, he wins. He's 4-0 in lone wolfs. I think this is the one that he loses, though. I think Dresser win brings this team in looking to take advantage of the momentum that they got from the first win last week. against a really solid Birmingham team. And this Memphis team, Wes Hills is playing. I believe he is the second running back this week, so he's going to get his first game action as a Memphis Showboat. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Christian, Jimmy, and I are all wrong, but this Houston team gives up 20.5 points per game. It's not much more than Showboat's 19.2. Houston gets up a lot more yards, though, 344 per game. Memphis only gives up 283.8. Memphis, though, biggest issue is turnovers. Only one on defense this year. Houston is fourth in the league with 6. And they also have a defensive touchdown as well. That was last week, I believe. I think. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think Memphis can get it done. Dresser win gets this thing going here. Jimmy, by the way, this was the first game that's going on. Just started. Splitsville. You're on with the winner, though. So that's why I'm scared. I'm scared again for this one because Danny's 4-0 in Lone Wolves this year. So yeah. You, sir, are a lone wolfer this week as well for the first time. First game on Sunday. Oh, I forgot to mention. Showboats game tomorrow. 36.5 is the total. I would lean on the over. 12 p.m. ABC tomorrow. Yeah, this game, though, DC, again, I was totally shocked at these lines this week. 2.5 for Michigan at home in Ford Field. I don't think it's the greatest of home field advantages, not like the Dome is in St. Louis there or Audi Field in DC, but I would probably put Michigan third in terms of home field. But yeah, I don't know. Bryce Perkins is in the MVP race right now for Michigan, but as bad of completion percentage as Jordan Ta'amu has, the man throws for a lot of yards, and he throws for touchdowns. He's had the last 2 games. He's had 3. He had 3 last week, 1 the week before, 3 in week 3. He has the best touchdown interception ratio of anyone in the league, 9-4. And he's also mobile. He has rushed for the 4th most rushing yards of any quarterback. He's tied for second in rushing touchdowns with 2. But per quarterback, again, it's just his completion percentage, man, it is horrendous, 49.7%. But 1,213 yards, hard to argue with. His completion percentage isn't going to get him to the NFL, but he's throwing for enough yards that he can win a UFL championship for sure. I like this DC defense as well. They've been balling out. Got blitzed a week or 2 ago, but this team's good, man, and they lead the league in sacks. 11, or no, I meant 16 sacks this season, and it's kind of funny because even numbered weeks they've had 0 sacks. They had 8 sacks in week 1, 0 in week 2, 3 in week 3, 0 in week 4, and 5 in week 5. So I guess they're not going to have any sacks this week. But the biggest thing also is they lead the league in turnovers. 11, 5 fumbles and 6 picks this year. Their second interceptions, first in fumble recoveries. They also have a blocked field goal. Kind of surprising the stat that they don't have a defensive touchdown this year or a special teams touchdown. They got close. Chris Rowland, I think, eventually going to break one on a punt return, but Yeah, this defense is good enough that I think they can shut down Michigan. And I'm not the biggest. I'm not very scared of the running attack from Michigan. Um, Actually, Toa has played pretty well, but Nate McCrary has not been playing that well. So Toa actually got elevated to RB2 this week. So on the depth chart, anyways, that they put out there. So I don't know. I'm not very scared of it. I think DC style up front, and they're going to shut down that running attack anyways and make Bryce Perkins beat them. Close game though. I think it's going to be a good one in Ford Field. DC wins it though for me, Danny, and Christian. Why'd you pick Michigan, Jimmy?
Do I dare say it? Yeah, the vibes, baby. I like the home team in this one. Yeah, we're gonna double up with them. I like the home team in this one. Even though defenders are 4-1, I don't know what it is. I'm not like super impressed with how they play. I think the Panthers have just played a lot better and just probably deserve more wins than they do. And playing at home, I tend to give the home team a little bit of a leg up, especially in this league. It really does feel like the team that doesn't travel just has more energy going into the game. So I'm picking the Panthers with this one.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because all of them do have to travel because they're all hubbed in Arlington, and they all have to go to their home cities. But yeah, it's also a big game for Michigan. It's a big game for both of them in terms of standings. DC obviously leads the XFL conference. Michigan tied for the lead in the USFL conference with Birmingham. And they will know going into this game, a loss drops them back to a tie for second with Houston potentially, if they would lose or if they would beat Memphis tomorrow. So yeah, big stakes for sure. That's what the UFL 2025 has been about, though. It's been a pretty solid competition, close standings, a lot of anyone's game really going into this home stretch here. 42.5, tied for the biggest total of the week with the Arlington game that's going on right now, which over is not looking very good. If anyone has that, they're about 5 minutes in, no score so far. So, yeah. But yeah, I like the under in this game. I think these two defenses are gonna play some good ball on Sunday. 12 p.m. on ESPN Sunday. And the last game of the week, the Brahmas at the Stallions. We are all on Birmingham. This has jumped to 11.5, by the way. It is wild, the spread on this one. But I'm not going to count San Antonio out. Kevin Hogan is getting the start for San Antonio. Kellen Mond benched. I have yet to see. I don't think they released the depth chart for this game yet. They probably didn't. I might have missed it, but because it should have been out by now, I think. But anyways, Kevin Hogan's gonna get the start. It's either gonna be Mond. I would assume Jarrett Garantano is gonna be the backup in this one. But yeah, so new quarterback on the road. I don't see it. San Antonio's reeling, and they just got demolished by Houston last week, 27-3 at home. So I don't see it with a new quarterback. I don't think it's going to change that much. I thought Jared Garantano moving to him would make a difference, and it didn't last week. So I don't really think Kevin Hogan is the guy. Browns legend Kevin Hogan.
Browns legend Kellen Hogan. Viking legend Kellen Mond.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have another certified Kellen Mond moment? I really hope we do.
If he gets on the field, I think Garantano is probably going to be the backup. So Mond would be the emergency third. One of them would Hogan would have to be injured essentially for Mond to be able to be on the field. which actually I like. I like the UFL's emergency quarterback policy a lot better than the NFL. NFL, the emergency third quarterback can't play at all unless the first two get injured. But in the UFL, I learned the other week that it was the St. Louis game when Manny Wilkins got hurt. If the starter gets hurt, then the third guy is eligible to play right away. The second guy doesn't have to get hurt. So I like that one a lot better. Anyways, total's 37.5. I am leaning on the under because I am not confident at all that San Antonio's offense can score anything really. The hesitancy that I would have with the under is that San Antonio is the worst defense in the UFL by far. 25.8 points per game. And actually, I forgot to update this. My bad. Yeah, I forgot to update this. But anyways, yeah, they're not good. I know that. Going into week 5, it was 25.8 per game, and it went up because they gave up 27 to Houston. So, touchdown Arlington Renegades here. Looks like it was a touchdown pass from Luis Perez to Lawan Winningham for the first score of the game. So, Arlington looking good. Christian and we're up 6. That force out roll on the sideline. 4 p.m. on Fox for this one on Sunday. And that's the show. I'm not seeing anything else relevant wise. Who's your pick for the Kentucky Derby, Jimmy?
I have no idea.
You didn't come prepared.
I did not. I only studied football for today.
Derby day tomorrow, baby. 6:51, I believe it is post time, or 6:57, something like that. Almost 7 o'clock makes on NBC. My pick. It was based off of name. It was the first one I really saw. Just looking at the post list, and I like it because of the name. American Promise, number 5. So, and it's green. It's a green number 5. So, growing up, that was Donovan McNabb for me. So, it makes sense. Looks like they took the Arlington touchdown off the board, by the way. I guess they said illegal touching because Winningham went out of bounds, came back in, was the first to touch. It looks like Coach Stoops is challenging, though. So I don't think he's going to win this one, unfortunately. But who knows? Okay, well, they did not accept the challenge. But, all right. We're getting a field goal opportunity. Next week, though, UFL Week 7. Get you all your game previews, NFL and college UFL news. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FA Podcast, Instagram and X, FA_ bets on X as well. FApodcast.com is our website. Check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and TikTok at FA.podcast. We will see y'all back on Monday.